Hi guys, my name is Christine, and I am talking about today high consciousness and the God within. So, one of the things that can help you develop this sense, and one of the things that really helps me, is connecting the dots, looking back. And this is something that I watched and listened to from Steve Jobs when he did his address at Stanford, and he was talking about his life. And one of the things that he said was, you can only connect the dots looking back. And I think when you contemplate that and you think back on your life and you think about the good things that happened, the bad things that happened, and how they were all there to serve you, even though they may have been tough to go through to begin with, and you see that, and you sort of see how things have sort of like weaved perfectly, you can't help but feel more connected to your higher self. Because when you contemplate those kinds of things and how things have divinely worked out in your favor, even though it may have been tough to begin with, and it may have been tough to go through those things, it puts you in a higher place and you feel more relaxed, because then you know that everything is happening on time. And I think one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is that they feel like their life is completely out of control. And things are just happening to them. And nothing makes sense. And things just don't seem to work out. And it could be that you're trying to manifest certain things in your life and they just haven't appeared yet. But when you connect the dots and you look back at your life, you start to see that it's all happening for a reason. And if, for whatever reason, you're not manifesting the things that you want in life right now, there's probably a reason for it. Now, I've had these kinds of beliefs for a number of years now, probably ever since I was about 23 or 24. I'm 32 now. And my whole world, my whole belief system got shaken up. And I literally stopped believing in this kind of stuff when I had my trigger warning miscarriage. So I had a miscarriage in 2022. And when that happened, I lost all belief in higher power, the universe. And it really shook me to my core, basically. It really did. I fell into somewhat of a depression, the closest thing I could probably think to as a depression. And it was really tough on me, not just because of losing a baby, but because of how it shook my belief system and how I viewed the world. Because I thought that just wouldn't happen to me. And in a way, though, I did sort of sense that something wasn't quite right. I did sense that something was off. So it's almost like my inner guidance system was telling me that something wasn't right. But when you go through something like that, spiritual pain, not just a grief, but because sometimes when you go through the dark night of the soul, shall we say, you can't help but feel it's almost like it's a spiritual pain as well as whatever the other pain is, whether it's grief, whether it's some other kind of pain, physical pain, just sadness, right? But now that I have a child, I know that if that pregnancy had carried out and we'd gone through with it and it would have been fine, well, not gone through with it, but if I hadn't lost the baby, then I wouldn't have my child now. I wouldn't have this child, because that child that I lost was going to be born in February 2023, and the child that survived, my child that I had after the miscarriage, was born in December 2023. So I know that if that child had been born, then I wouldn't have had the child that I have now. And I love the child that I have now. So maybe, even though it sucked to begin with, and I don't see, and I didn't see any sense of why that had to happen, now I kind of do. Because I have this child, and this child is amazing, lovely, sweet. And if that hadn't have happened, then I wouldn't have this child. And it would be a crime against humanity, basically, that this child did not exist. This child that I have right now. Because of how sweet, lovely, kind, adorable, how much joy that child brings. Now, who knows, right? But it just seems like it was meant to happen. As tough as it is for me to, even now, say those words, it was meant to happen. One of the things that actually really helped me gain my belief back in this sort of thing was, it's a bit of a random thing, but the movie Signs, right? So the movie Signs with Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix is basically about, it's an alien movie, but really it's about faith. Yeah. It's sort of like, it's sort of like a quasi-religious movie disguised as like an alien invasion movie, which is really, really cool. It's such a cool concept. But especially the last, like, 5 minutes. And basically what that showed me was, or it taught me, that even though I went through something tough, it was meant to happen because it produced a different result. And also, it showed me, in a way, how to manifest. Because when I had some concept of manifesting and things before the miscarriage. But after the miscarriage, when I was trying to get pregnant again, and when I did get pregnant, I manifested that baby. I manifested the baby that I have now. Because I was trying so hard to make that a reality. I was trying so hard to have a baby. And what was missing from the one that I had when I had a miscarriage, and what was missing from the one where I actually got the baby, was a burning desire. I was full on, I am going to get pregnant this month. I am going to get pregnant this month. And I had this burning desire within me. I could visualize it in my head. I could see the pregnancy test. It was a specific one. It was a clear blue one with a flashing light, and it said pregnant on it. I could see the bathroom where I was taking the test. I could see myself waiting the time limit, and then turning it around, seeing that it was flashing, and then seeing that it said pregnant. Right? I could see it very clearly in my mind's eye, and I was adamant. I was convinced. I was sure. I was definite about it, and I had a burning desire inside of me to have a baby. And that was the month that it worked, and it worked out that baby survived, and I now have a kid. So you have this power within you, right? This consciousness that if you put your attention on it, and you pay attention, and you have this burning desire, you can create your world the way that you want it. But sometimes there are certain things that need to happen, certain events, in order to get you on the right path. Now, I had some concepts, like I said, of God consciousness, manifesting, all those kinds of things before. I had those kinds of things before. But it wasn't until I really had the dark night of the soul that I was able to get through that and regain my faith and really put into earnest the techniques and things that I had learned over the years, and really, really put it together and tried it, that it worked out. So it's all about trusting the path, even though you may go through painful experiences. And I still grieve my child that I lost all the time, almost. Certain songs come on the radio and I'm just back there, and it hurts and it's sad. But it was a lesson, as hard as that is to admit and hard as it is to say. But it's all about trusting the path. Because when you trust the path and you trust that things are working out in your favor, even if it may not seem that way, it's more easier to come into this higher consciousness and realize that you are the creator of your life. You can create the things that you want, but sometimes you just have to go through something tough in order to see that. You need to go through the dark night of the soul. And there are many times in my life where I've had dark nights of the soul, shall we say. And I think the reason why I'm more connected to sort of like the spiritual teachings and things like that, and wanting to know these things, is because I had a turbulent childhood. From the ages of 5 to 17, I was put through something that I don't think any child should be put through for 12 years. For 12 years. By an older sibling. An older half sibling. Who was 9 years older than me. And the deep manipulation and hurt that sibling of mine put me through, I think did so much to me that I became more connected and more interested in the spiritual side of things and the spiritual equation. Because I think when you go through spiritual pain, you can't help but then be more connected to the spiritual side of things. So, in a way, even that was there to serve me, because it would help me become more interested in this kind of thing. And it's all going back to connecting the dots. You can only connect the dots looking back, and you've got to trust the path ahead of you, and that no matter what you go through, at some point it will make sense. Okay? So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you like coaching with me, then please go to www.christinelovage.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.